Has the bizarre humor and brutal action of High on Life got you longing for another game that will leave you in stitches and your enemies in pieces? Well then tell your gun to shut it and set your sights on one of these.
Now, what Bex just said only really starts to make sense with the first Xbox game that Squanch Games ever squanched out into the universe. It's Trover Saves the Universe, in fact. In this particular zany space adventure, you'll be going all John Wick and hunting down the alien fiend that stole your dogs and tried to use them as his seeing eye dogs. By which I mean that he screws them into the holes in his eyes where his eyes are supposed to be. Yes, it's a thing. And these things really do only get weirder and more disturbing from there as you travel across the galaxy, engaging in some light platforming and the odd bit of laser sword fighting along the way. Just don't drop it perfectly vertical, okay? That's all I'm gonna say.
If you're looking for a hilarious cosmic adventure with a slightly more satirical bend, punch in the coordinates for the Outer Worlds. You'll touch down in a world where the light of human consciousness has spread all across the stars, but sadly, so have all of Earth's most brutal mega corporations. The role you play in this brave new world is entirely up to you. Take a blaster in hand and fight for the common man, or smooth talk your way into the good graces of those in power to see if you can't make a few bucks for yourself. Or just be a complete dummy and wander around making decisions at random. Whichever path you choose, you can take your first steps along it by heading to the Xbox or PC Game Pass library. And you can take comfort in the fact that the future does hold at least one positive thing: The Outer Worlds 2 is currently in development.
The Borderlands games are another set of space first-person shooters that are absolutely brimming with weird dark humour, but what it's not rife with is ethical dilemmas. Unlike what Bex told you about the Outer Worlds, these games instead present one very straightforward solution to pretty much every problem you might face. Shoot it lots and lots and lots and lots and lots, and you get more points if you get him in the head. While the guns on Borderlands aren't packing quite as much personality as High on Life's Gatlians, the sheer variety of them goes some way to making up for it. There are quite literally millions, if not billions, of different firearms for you to fire across the three main games, allowing you to fastidiously fine-tune your loadout or just treat the whole thing like a weapon-grade buffet. And if you're looking for a different spin on that classic shoot and loot formula, you can trade in sci-fi for swords and sorcery with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and their epic D&D style gameplay, or enjoy the warped storytelling of new tales from the Borderlands.
Next, let's move back into Earth's orbit and towards a quiet little mountain town in Colorado, because High on Life isn't the only game channeling the chaotic cartoon energy of a hit animated sitcom. The Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole are turn-based RPGs set in the world of South Park. So you can expect plenty of foul-mouthed preteens, crazy plot lines, and incredibly crude humour. Both adventures see you creating your very own addition to South Park's sprawling cast and recruiting classic characters like Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny to your cause. Stick of Truth puts a high fantasy spin on things, while the Fractured Butthole sees the town trying to cash in on the latest superhero craze. But you can expect all manner of hilarious hijinks with either game.
Here's a game that isn't related to South Park, but feels very much like it could be. I am, of course, talking about Cult of the Lamb. In this twisted roguelike management sim, you play as a sweet young woolly fellow who just so happens to have made a literal deal with the devil. To hold up your end of the bargain, you're going to need to start spreading the bad word to form your very own cult, complete with grisly rituals, blood sacrifices, and all sorts of other nasty business. And since devil worship is apparently all the rage these days, you'll also need to lead your followers into combat to take down any other cult that threatens to get in the way of your not-so-sacred mission. The bright, cartoony visuals clash with the hilariously twisted subject matter in a way that High on Life fans are certain to appreciate. So if you're feeling a little bit lost and looking for a new direction in life, why don't you sign up to the Cult of Lamb?
High on Life loves to make fun of its failings as a game, with the Gatlians quipping about the simplistic puzzles and cliched platforming sections you encounter. And if that sort of meta humour tickles your funny bone, the Goat Simulator series will have you rolling around on the floor like the victim of an exceptionally clumsy ragdoll physics engine. The thing about this series is that it literally started out as a joke, with the developers coming up with the silliest concept they can think of to riff off of the trend for weird, highly specific simulation games, while also delighting in how shabbily made it could be. Every glitch and bug you encounter just makes playing it even more fun. 2022's Goat Simulator 3, which is obviously the second game in the series, took things even further with more characters, more maps, and even the option to smash things up together in co-op. And it really put the game to the test. So if High on Life has you craving some madcap meta fun, the original Goat Simulator is available now on Xbox and PC Game Pass.
Okay, here we go everyone, open up your browsers. If you go to the Wikipedia entry on Sam and Max Beyond Space and Time, the plot summary begins with the sentence, Sam and Max discover their pet's goldfish Mr. Spatula has turned evil, but he's killed by a giant robot sent by Santa Claus. And things really do, I promise you, only get stranger from there. Over the course of this ridiculous point-and-click adventure, which has now been remastered to look even more sublimely silly, you'll go into the Bermuda Triangle to deal with, of course, ocean chimps and checking out a German nightclub run by a vampire. You'll get abducted by a UFO and meet a time-traveling mariachi. Eventually, you'll even literally get to go to hell. Always wanted to say that to our YouTube listeners. Haha. Filled with pop culture references, meta gags, and the most random plot twists imaginable, Sam and Max Beyond Space and Time is on the same weirdo wavelength as High on Life, and it's every bit as hilarious too.
The thing about animated sitcoms and games like High on Life is that the vibrant, innocent-looking visuals often mask the absolute horrors lying underneath. And that's definitely true about Bugsnax. It all starts off so nicely too. You head to an exotic island populated by some adorably fuzzy folks called the Grumpses. And look, all the animals on the island are like food that's come to life, with burgers scuttling about and pizza slices flapping through the air. How delightful. But beneath all that colour and whimsy, this island holds some very dark secrets, and soon you'll find yourself in a world of culinary body horror and profound ethical dilemmas about whether it's really right to eat another living thing, even if that thing does look exactly like a baked potato. It's all enough to mess with your head, but if you don't mind that and you're game for a weirdly wonderful first-person adventure, Bugsnax is available now on Xbox and PC Game Pass. Speaking of which, if you fancy getting the latest updates on what's coming to Game Pass hot off the press, be sure to subscribe to Xbox On and give that bell a ring too. Finally, if you just can't get enough of Justin Roiland's uniquely deranged sense of humour and stuttering voice work, you can also play as both Rick and Morty in Warner Bros. IP-mashing platform fighter Multiverses. Rick plays as a ranged character, keeping the enemies at bay with his endless supply of gadgets, and even calling in Mr. Meeseeks for help when the situation calls for it. In spite of his small frame and nervous demeanour, Morty is a bruiser, with an impressive arsenal of weapons from across his adventures. Together, they're a match for any caped crusader, mystery machine, or iron giant that gets in their way. Probably. Multiverses is totally free to play, so you don't need to be the smartest man in the galaxy to realise that this one is worth checking out. Truth is, any one of these titles should keep you from coming down too hard after the thrills of High on Life. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell before you go for more finely tailored Xbox recommendations. Bye!